In the grand expanse of the galaxy, few things were regarded with as little concern as Earth. To the members of the Galactic Alliance, a coalition of advanced species who had mastered the manipulation of entire star systems, humans were barely more than an afterthought. Their technology, while impressive to themselves, was laughably primitive to those who had long since harnessed the energy of suns and bent the fabric of space to their will. Earth was not just overlooked, it was mocked. Among the interstellar communities, stories of Earth's trivial achievements were told with amusement, like a child's attempt to mimic an adult's work. The humans still relied on crude combustion engines while the galaxy at large had left such things behind millennia ago. They struggled with diseases the galactic species had cured long before Earth had even formed. Even their greatest achievements, colonizing their own moon, were considered quaint at best. No one believed that humans could ever become a serious player on the galactic stage. It wasn't just their technology either. The galactic species viewed humanity's culture as reckless, driven by emotion rather than logic. Their constant conflicts with each other, their obsession with national borders, and their violent history further diminished their reputation. To the Galactic Alliance, humans were a curiosity, a species that might be interesting to observe but would never be a threat. The idea of Earth posing any significant challenge was absurd. But soon that would change. Not by humanity's choice, but because they had caught the attention of someone who never cared about reputations or technological superiority. The Reaper King. A name spoken in fear and dread across all species, from the most primitive to the most advanced. He was a warlord, a conqueror whose path of destruction had left countless civilizations in ruins. His campaigns were unstoppable. No army had ever resisted him and lived to tell the tale. Entire planets had been burned to ash under his reign. The Reaper King didn't just conquer worlds, he annihilated them. When word reached the Galactic Alliance that the Reaper King had turned his gaze toward Earth, it wasn't met with concern. It was met with laughter. Earth, a backwater planet with barely enough capability to defend itself, would be wiped off the map in days. The Alliance members speculated on how long it would take. Some bet it would be hours, others generously suggested it might take a day or two. Either way, the result was inevitable. Earth, the galactic joke, was about to meet its end. What they didn't know, however, was that while Earth's surface appeared chaotic and divided, there were forces at work beneath the surface, hidden from the prying eyes of the universe. A group of human scientists, engineers, and military leaders had been preparing for this very day, not the Reaper King specifically, but for the inevitable moment when Earth would have to defend itself against an enemy from the stars. These visionaries had been working in secret for decades, using every piece of alien technology they could find or steal, reverse engineering it in underground labs far from the public eye. Humanity's greatest asset was its adaptability. Every bit of alien technology that had been uncovered, whether it was from crashed ships or ancient ruins, had been carefully studied, broken down, and rebuilt. Earth's leaders had known for a long time that they were being watched by the rest of the galaxy, and they had prepared accordingly. They had no illusions about their place in the universe, but they weren't going to go down without a fight. Still, when news broke that the Reaper King was coming, fear spread like wildfire across Earth. Governments scrambled to respond. The general public, unaware of the secret military projects, believed it was the end. But within the halls of power, there was a different kind of response. Confident. Determined. Because Earth's leaders knew something the galaxy didn't, they had been preparing for this moment all along. As the Reaper King's fleet drew closer, Earth activated its hidden defenses. For the first time, the world saw the fruits of its underground efforts. Massive, AI-driven combat machines emerged from secret bases, cloaked warships took to the skies, and energy shields capable of withstanding the might of the Reaper King's weapons shimmered into existence around key cities. The galaxy had no idea what Earth had been hiding, and when the Reaper King's fleet arrived, they were in for a surprise. The Galactic Alliance watched, amused, as the Reaper King's forces descended upon Earth. To them, it was a foregone conclusion. Earth's defenses were a joke, after all. But as the first wave of the Reaper King's ships engaged with Earth's forces, something unexpected happened. The Reaper King's ships didn't crush Earth's forces. Instead, they were met with powerful resistance. Earth's hidden technology was far more advanced than anyone had expected. The Reaper King, watching from his flagship, initially found this amusing. He had seen countless planets attempt to defend themselves, only to fall within hours. But as the battle raged on, his amusement turned to curiosity. The humans were fighting back, and they were doing it with surprising effectiveness. As the Reaper King's fleet descended upon Earth, the world braced for impact. On the surface, panic gripped the population. Citizens looked to the sky in terror, expecting a swift and brutal end. Governments issued statements, urging calm, but the looming sense of dread was palpable. However, within the fortified bunkers of Earth's military command, the atmosphere was entirely different. Those in the know had been waiting for this day, not with fear, but with preparation. Earth was not as defenseless as the rest of the galaxy believed. In secret, for decades, humanity had been working on a range of advanced technologies. These weren't just minor upgrades to existing weapons. This was an entirely new level of warfare, built using alien relics and technology that had been quietly gathered, studied, and reverse-engineered. Teams of scientists and engineers had been laboring in underground facilities, far away from public knowledge, creating a defense system that would shock the galaxy. The key to Earth's survival lay in its ability to adapt. Over the years, humanity had scoured every corner of the solar system for alien artifacts. From the remains of long-forgotten space battles to mysterious crashed ships on the dark side of the moon, every piece of extraterrestrial tech had been studied meticulously. Earth's brightest minds dissected these relics, decoding their functions and using them to create a defense force that was light years ahead of anything the galaxy thought possible for such a primitive species. What the Galactic Alliance had failed to realize was that Earth had learned from them. Every mistake, every weakness observed in other civilizations, had been noted and addressed in Earth's designs. The key was not to compete with the galaxy's overwhelming technological superiority head-on, but to find the cracks in their assumptions. And the humans had done just that. When the Reaper King's forces began their assault, they were met with a wall of resistance unlike anything they'd expected. The first wave of ships found themselves targeted by an array of highly advanced, AI-driven combat drones, operating with pinpoint precision. These weren't the crude, mechanical units that the galaxy expected from Earth. They were sleek, advanced machines, equipped with energy weapons far more powerful than anything seen before. These drones didn't just defend, they outmaneuvered, outthought, and outgunned the Reaper King's initial assault forces. The Reaper King's commanders, who had expected a quick and decisive victory, were forced to rethink their strategy. Earth's defenses were not just strong, they were dangerously effective. For every ship the Reaper King sent, Earth had a counter. Energy shields that were thought impossible for a species as young as humanity deflected incoming fire with ease. Earth's warships, hidden until now, rose from deep underground silos, cutting through the Reaper King's forces with a precision that unnerved even the most seasoned of his warriors. These ships weren't piloted by humans alone. They were enhanced by AI, connected in ways that allowed them to predict and adapt to the enemy's tactics. Humanity's resourcefulness had found a way to blend organic decision-making with machine efficiency, creating a hybrid force that could anticipate moves before they were even made. The Reaper King, watching from his flagship, was no longer amused. His forces had faced resistance before, but this was different. Earth's defenses were organized, calculated, and far more advanced than anything the galaxy had warned him about. His fleet, usually an unstoppable force, was being pushed back in key areas. For the first time, he considered the possibility that this battle might not be as easy as he had believed. As the fighting intensified, Earth's forces revealed even more of their hidden arsenal. A new generation of warships, each outfitted with weaponry derived from alien technology, launched a counteroffensive. These ships weren't just playing defense, they were taking the fight directly to the Reaper King's fleet. High-energy weapons, capable of cutting through even the toughest of enemy shields, decimated the Reaper King's assault ships. Entire battalions of his most fearsome warriors were vaporized in moments, their technology no match for Earth's newfound power. Humanity's forces didn't stop there. On the ground, energy shields protected key cities, while advanced anti-aircraft systems shot down invading forces with ruthless efficiency. The Reaper King's ground assault, expected to be a swift and overwhelming show of force, was met with a coordinated and devastating response. For every soldier the Reaper King sent, Earth had a countermeasure ready. Earth's military, bolstered by this advanced technology, held their ground against an enemy that had never been stopped before. And it wasn't just technology that set Earth apart, it was their sheer determination. Every man and woman who fought knew that this was a battle for survival, and they fought with a fierceness that no alien species had ever encountered. Humanity, despite its so-called primitive nature, had a will to survive that the galaxy had underestimated. They didn't just rely on their machines, they adapted, they learned, and they pushed back against the invaders with a resolve that shocked the Reaper King's forces. The Reaper King, frustrated by the unexpected strength of Earth's defenses, realized that this battle would not end quickly. He had underestimated them, as had the rest of the galaxy. Earth was not the weak, primitive planet he had thought. This was a species that had learned from the galaxy's mistakes, a species that had adapted and evolved in ways no one had anticipated. But the Reaper King was not one to retreat. If Earth wanted a fight, he would give them one. His forces, battered but not broken, regrouped for a second wave. This time, he would lead them personally. He would crush this planet with his own hands if he had to. The humans had shown their strength, but the Reaper King had faced powerful enemies before. And none of them had survived. He would not let Earth be the exception. As the Reaper King prepared to launch his next attack, Earth's forces stood ready. They had revealed their strength, but they knew the battle was far from over. The galaxy may have mocked Earth, but now it was watching with a mixture of awe and fear. The humans had proven they were not to be underestimated, and now they were ready for whatever the Reaper King had in store. The Reaper King's fleet, regrouped and ready for a second wave, descended upon Earth once more, but this time with even more fury. He led the charge personally, determined to crush the resistance that had so shockingly turned his forces away in the initial assault. His dreadnought, the flagship of his fleet, loomed ominously over the battlefield, a behemoth of destruction that had left countless worlds in ruins. The Galactic Alliance, watching from afar, could scarcely believe their eyes. They had expected Earth to be reduced to ashes within hours, yet here it stood, defiant and strong. The Alliance's arrogance had blinded them to the truth: humanity was far from weak. But even with this new revelation, they doubted Earth could withstand the might of the Reaper King himself. No one had ever survived his personal involvement in a battle. No civilization had ever walked away intact after he led the charge. As the battle began anew, Earth's forces, already battered from the first wave, dug in their heels. This time, it wasn't just about defense. Humanity knew that merely holding their ground wouldn't be enough. They had to take the fight directly to the Reaper King if they had any hope of survival. It was no longer just a matter of surviving, now, it was about winning. The first strike came from the Phoenix, Earth's most advanced warship, newly unveiled and equipped with the most potent weaponry Earth had ever developed. The ship's crew knew the risks of engaging directly with the Reaper King's dreadnought, but there was no other choice. As the Phoenix broke formation and charged toward the heart of the Reaper King's fleet, it became clear that this was a do-or-die mission. The Phoenix wasn't just a warship, it was a symbol of Earth's resilience, the embodiment of humanity's refusal to bow before any threat. The Reaper King watched from his command center, initially unimpressed by the display of courage. He had seen countless civilizations make similar last-ditch efforts, and all had ended in their annihilation. But as the Phoenix drew closer, its weaponry unlike anything he had encountered before, he began to sense that this might be different. The battle in space became a brutal contest of power. The Phoenix and the Reaper King's dreadnought exchanged fire, each unleashing volleys of energy that lit up the dark void with flashes of destruction. The Reaper King's forces, though formidable, found themselves struggling to keep up with Earth's adaptive tactics. The humans fought with a combination of precision and unpredictability that unnerved even the most battle-hardened of the Reaper King's commanders. It was clear that Earth's forces were not simply reacting to the assault. They were evolving in real time, learning and adapting with every passing moment. On the ground, the fight was just as fierce. The Reaper King's elite soldiers, monstrous beings bred for war, descended upon Earth's cities with unrelenting force. Yet humanity refused to break. Advanced ground units, armed with alien-enhanced weaponry and supported by AI-driven drones, held the line against the invaders. Earth's forces had already suffered heavy casualties, but they fought with a ferocity that the Reaper King had not anticipated. This was not a battle of technology alone, it was a battle of will, and humanity's will to survive burned stronger than ever. The Reaper King, now fully engaged in the fight, grew increasingly frustrated. His forces, which had never known defeat, were being pushed back on multiple fronts. His dreadnought, long considered indestructible, showed signs of wear as the Phoenix continued its relentless assault. For the first time in his long and bloody reign, the Reaper King began to doubt. But his doubt only fueled his resolve to end this battle once and for all. As the battle reached its climax, the Reaper King made a bold move. He left the safety of his dreadnought, descending to the surface of Earth himself. It was a rare event for the Reaper King to engage in direct combat, but when he did, it was always the end for his enemies. His physical presence on the battlefield struck terror into the hearts of those who faced him. He was a being of immense power, nearly invincible, and he had crushed entire armies with his own hands. But Earth's forces did not falter. In the heart of the battle, the Reaper King confronted the commander of Earth's defense forces, a leader who had been at the forefront of the fight since the beginning. This wasn't just a battle of technology or military might. This was a test of humanity's spirit against the unstoppable force of the Reaper King. Armed with the most advanced alien-enhanced weaponry Earth had developed, the commander stood ready to face the Reaper King in a final, desperate confrontation. The duel between the two was nothing short of epic. The Reaper King, towering over the human commander, unleashed his full might, a terrifying display of raw power and combat skill. But the human commander, though smaller and seemingly outmatched, fought with an intensity and precision that caught even the Reaper King off guard. Earth's weapons, combined with the ingenuity of its people, proved to be a match for the Reaper King's strength. As the battle raged around them, the commander and the Reaper King fought with everything they had. It was a brutal, exhausting confrontation, with neither side willing to give an inch. The Reaper King, for all his power, found himself being pushed to his limits by a foe he had once dismissed as insignificant. Earth's commander, battered but unbroken, refused to back down, even in the face of overwhelming odds. And then, in a moment of pure defiance, Earth's commander dealt a critical blow. The Reaper King, for the first time in his long and bloody reign, was brought to his knees. The battle was far from over, but the tide had turned. The Reaper King, mortally wounded, stared at the human who had defied him, his once unstoppable reign finally brought to a halt. But even in defeat, the Reaper King was not without his final words. As he lay dying, he looked upon Earth and its people, not with anger, but with something resembling respect. He had underestimated them, as had the rest of the galaxy. But he offered a warning, a chilling reminder that while Earth had won this battle, they had drawn the attention of forces far greater than him. Forces that even he had feared. And with that, the Reaper King fell, his reign of terror over, but leaving Earth with the knowledge that its greatest challenge had only just begun. The Reaper King had fallen. His reign of terror across the galaxy finally ended at the hands of the one species everyone had thought would be the easiest to crush. Earth's victory, though hard-won and at great cost, sent shockwaves through the universe. The Galactic Alliance, once so sure of humanity's insignificance, was left in stunned silence. They had mocked Earth, laughed at its presumed weakness, but now they had witnessed the impossible. A backwater planet had stood up to one of the most feared warlords in history and emerged victorious. But for those on Earth, there was no time for celebration. The damage inflicted by the Reaper King's assault was devastating. Cities lay in ruins, millions of lives lost, and the scars of war were deep. The battle may have been won, but the cost was immeasurable. For every victory came the sobering reality of the price paid. Earth had proven its strength, but at what cost? The leaders of Earth knew that their fight wasn't over. They had been warned. In the Reaper King's final moments, he hadn't cursed humanity or swore vengeance. Instead, he had delivered a chilling message. The battle with him had drawn the attention of even greater forces that had remained hidden until now. If the Reaper King, a figure of such immense power, had feared these entities, then Earth was in even greater danger than they could have imagined. The Reaper King's fall had been a catalyst, awakening something far older, far darker. As the dust settled and the galaxy reeled from Earth's unexpected triumph, whispers began to spread. Alien empires that had once scoffed at the idea of Earth as a power now spoke of it in fearful tones. But alongside that fear came interest. What was it about humanity that had allowed them to defy the odds? How had they, with their limited resources and crude technology, managed to overcome the unstoppable might of the Reaper King? Across the universe, factions began to shift. Some sought alliances with Earth, hoping to learn the secret behind their resilience. Others viewed humanity as a new threat, a wild card that could no longer be ignored. Earth had upset the delicate balance of power, and the galaxy was now a very different place. The Galactic Alliance, once unified in its dismissal of Earth, now found itself divided. Some members saw Earth as an asset, a potential ally in the growing uncertainty. Others saw them as a danger that needed to be contained before they upset the balance further. But even as the political machinations of the galaxy churned, humanity remained focused on the warning left by the Reaper King. In secret, Earth scientists and military leaders began to prepare once more. The technologies they had developed, though powerful, were nothing compared to the threats now on the horizon. The relics they had reverse-engineered, once thought to be the key to their survival, were now only a glimpse into the vast power that lay beyond the stars. There were forces out there, waiting, watching, and Earth had now come into their view. Humanity's leaders understood the gravity of the situation. They had faced extinction and survived, but this was just the beginning. The Reaper King's warning echoed in their minds, a constant reminder that something far more dangerous was looming. Earth had been thrust into the spotlight, and now they had to prepare for what was coming. The Reaper King was gone, but his defeat had opened the door to an even greater challenge. The people of Earth, unaware of the full extent of the danger, slowly began to rebuild. There was pride in their victory, but it was tempered by the loss. Families mourned their dead, cities began the slow process of reconstruction, and the scars of the battle were visible in every corner of the planet. Yet, despite the devastation, there was a growing sense of unity. Humanity had faced the unthinkable and had survived. They had proven that they were not to be underestimated, that they could stand toe-to-toe with the most powerful beings in the universe. But as the world rebuilt, those in power worked tirelessly in the shadows. New technologies were being developed, new alliances being formed, and Earth's defense systems were being fortified beyond anything seen before. The Reaper King had been a test, but now, humanity was preparing for the real threat. The forces he had warned of were coming, and Earth would need every advantage if they were to survive the next confrontation. Across the galaxy, others were preparing as well. The Reaper King's death had sent ripples through the universe, awakening ancient powers that had remained dormant for millennia. These entities, older than any civilization in the galaxy, had watched as the Reaper King rose to power, and now, with his fall, they were stirring. They had not acted for eons, content to let the universe play out its course. But now, with Earth's rise and the Reaper King's defeat, they had been drawn back into the game. For now, Earth remained unaware of the specifics of this looming threat, but they were not blind to its existence. The warning had been clear, something worse was coming. And so, humanity prepared. They would not be caught off guard again. The Reaper King had underestimated them, as had the rest of the galaxy. But this new enemy would not make the same mistake. The final chapter of this conflict had yet to be written. Earth had proven itself capable of defying the odds, but the true test was still ahead. The universe, once so certain of humanity's insignificance, now watched with wary eyes. For better or worse, Earth had become a player in the cosmic game. And the stakes had never been higher. In the silence that followed the battle, as the galaxy shifted and new alliances formed, the question on everyone's mind was no longer whether Earth could survive. The question now was, what would they do next? And as the forces of the universe began to stir, one thing was certain: humanity's greatest battle was still to come.